this 4 game prediction. Now, this 4 game prediction is the next 4 games for the Minnesota Vikings directly after the bye. So we're gonna start off with the Eagles. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Last year, I was drinking that purple Kool-Aid. I was listening to a lot of different podcasters, and they were just saying that the Philadelphia Eagles, were a dumpster fire. They was unorganized. They were this, they were that. AJ Brown wanted to get traded. Jalen Hurts couldn't throw the ball down the field, and it's kind of the same shit they talking about right now. But it is what it is, and we know what the end result was for the Philadelphia Eagles. They actually won the Super Bowl last year. So I'm not even buying all that crazy shit that's coming through the media saying that, the Philadelphia Eagles are dysfunctional. But going into this game, this is the first game the Vikings are going to have after the bye. And the one thing about Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores and everybody on that coaching staff, when you give them time to prepare, they can come up with a great game plan. And I feel like with McCarthy stepping back to being a starter, hopefully, for this game, that Kevin O'Connell can give JJ McCarthy a great game plan to where he can kind of pick his shots and basically be efficient to win this game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, I'm picking the Vikings to beat the Eagles on that game. Now, the next game is against the Los Angeles Chargers on the short week, and they dealing with a lot of issues too. They basically lost 2 offensive tackles this year, their right tackle and their left tackle. I don't even know who they throwing in, to kind of sub in for those positions. And their star rookie running back, Omari Hampton, went on short-term injury reserve this year too. So they dealing with injuries also, but that's no excuse. And just like I said before, it's the NFL. And sometimes it's when you play teams, where you can take advantage of them. And I feel like with the injuries on the offensive line for the Chargers, I think our defensive line and our pass rushers can take advantage of that. And they can dominate that game, especially if they don't have a run game. And that's one of the things the Vikings been struggling with this whole season is stopping the run. So I'm taking the Vikings to beat the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. Next game, Vikings go on the road to play against the Detroit Lions. Now, this is one that I had circled earlier in the season. Now, that first game that Detroit, had throughout this season, you had a lot of talk out there of people saying, damn, Detroit lost a step. Detroit, they ain't got it no more. They lost both their coordinators and Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. They can't get it together. It seems like that's not true because the Detroit Lions are continuing to be the team that they have been for the past couple of seasons. They got a few injuries with Terry Arnold. I'm not sure when he's going to be back, but that Detroit defense and that offense is legit. And I gotta tip my hat to them, and I gotta call it for what it is. So I'm I'm taking the Vikings to lose this game, but I do think the Vikings are going to split with the Detroit Lions this season. I think both teams will win their respective games at home. So this game will be on the road in Detroit. I think Detroit takes this one. But when the Vikings play them again at home at US Bank, I got the Vikings taking that game. That's just a early prediction for y'all. Now, going into the next game, you got the Vikings back at home against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Baltimore Ravens have been struggling with a lot of turnovers, fumbles, and the defense hasn't been playing that Baltimore Ravens type football. And you got to throw in a situation that Lamar Jackson is basically suffering from a hamstring injury, and we don't know if he's going to be healthy around this time. So I really can't say much because that one's kind of, a little far in the future. But I got the Vikings winning this game. I really do. I think the Vikings will figure some stuff out. I think they're going to hit their stride and get some momentum, and they're going to be ready to go. So, with that being said, I got the Vikings going 3-1 after the bye, which will put them at 6-2. That's not bad at all. that's contending for, a playoff spot in the NFC. And depending on what the other teams do, it might be a top seed, but it is what it is. So let's keep it moving.